say that I need to be saved. Say with me, the devil's got his way. I want to know how when you are praying, or when you are doomed to staying, how you think you know that someone is listening to what you are saying. So you think that you can tell us how to live our lives, never questioning the source from which your moral core derives. You think that suffering is part of some great plan that's been devised. I wonder when we'll be rid of your lies. Say I need to hear the truth. The sales pitch of eternal life and eternal youth. All these blessings you are bestowing upon the one you say is all knowing. Well, are they really deserved if he is sending me where you say I am going? So you think that you can tell us how to live our lives, never questioning the source from which your moral core derives. You think that suffering is part of some great plan that's been devised. I wonder what will it take for you to start opening your eyes, to start questioning the bullshit everyone around you buys. You think it's any of your business what goes on between my thighs. I wonder. So you think that you can tell us how to live our lives, never questioning the source from which your moral code derives. You think that suffering is part of some great plan that's been devised. I wonder what will it take for you to start opening your eyes, to start questioning the bullshit everyone around you buys. You think it's any of your business what goes on between my thighs. I wonder when we'll be rid of your lies. Of your lies. Thank you.
Welcome back live, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Mythicist Milwaukee show, keeping an all-seeing eye of Horus on the secular movement. Tonight, keeping an all-hearing ear on the sultry sounds of secular songstress Shelley Segal. How about that? Got that tongue twister out.
That was some great alliteration, yeah.
Thank you. Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
You're a good poet.
Thank you.
The lyrics to Saved are getting drilled into my head. I used to use it as the Craftcast opening back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the River West days. But
Cool.
really, no, good lyrics. Good
It
rhyme.
is.
Thank you.
I doomsdayin', right? That was great. I did like that. And apostrophe.
My favorite part of that song is like, talking about the God concept that the person's holding on to, and it's like, you say they're amazing, you're praising them, but do they really deserve that if they're going to send me to hell? And I think most people don't realize how indicting their own concept of a God is. And it's that's my favorite part of my own song.
Do the lyrics come to you first, or does the music come to you first usually?
It's different every time, but this time with this song, I'm pretty sure it was the lyrics and a little bit of rhythm.
So you're wrapping up 3 months at least in the States, huh?
Been on the road for 3 months.
Are you homesick? Should we talk about
that's
this?
pretty good. That's really good. I can do a South African accent. I know.
Well, that's really close.
What that would be for.
Americans can't tell the difference generally. It's
yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm not homesick. No, it's pretty fun.
No. What I love about an Australian accent, but I have to get this in there. The word "no" actually has like 4 syllables. It goes like this: no.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, while we're doing impressions, I mean, can you do some Iggy Azalea?
So, no. I really love, so you guys say sure here, like sure?
Sure.
Yeah, so in Chinese, like sure is yes.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah,
so like I was in China and then I came here and I pretty much didn't have to stop. I didn't have to change the word I was using for yes. So I was just like, sure. Yeah.
And do they grab that from English, or is that the Mandarin?
No, that's the word.
Just yes. Yeah.
You don't speak Mandarin,
Sure.
Brian?
No, I don't. I don't speak Australian either. Like I could do one accent, and you don't want me to do it.
Well, we can take you and teach you Outback.
There you go.
Hey,
the steakhouse.
There you go. That's as close to Australia as we get. Right? Have a Foster's. Tell us where you've been though. Take us through your little trip so far.
So we were I started with a launch show in Los Angeles, and that was really cool. That was my first time playing with a band in the country.
Okay.
And then just around California, a couple of LA dates. Then we went up north. Actually flew home in the middle for a show. And we went up north, did 4 Washington state shows. There's a community out in Kennewick that I've been going to pretty much every time I come over.
Nice.
And I really love that. I love getting to go back to communities that I've kind of met a few years ago, and then you feel like you've got friends and you kind of see how that group is growing and progressing.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. And so so south, the northwest is I'm going to get confused. Then we went to Texas, then New York, got to do a launch show at the Rockwood Music Hall. So this tour has been more like some mainstream venues as well, and trying to to get more how do you say non-secular but meaning secular? It's really confusing. Just some more mainstream people involved in what we're doing.
To pay attention a little.
Yeah, and did the Pennsylvania Atheist Conference, state conference. Went back to New York, played at Birdland. We've done Arkansas. This was my first time in Arkansas this trip. Tennessee, Alabama.
Oh, so you really did hit the buckles, didn't you?
Yeah.
We were teasing.
Yeah, I was just saying to the guys before, everyone in the South is like, this is the buckle of the Bible Belt. And then you go to the next place. Like so it's funny. Everyone
And that's a big buckle.
It is a big buckle.
We're in New Orleans. That was great as well.
That's a good, well done.
Live stream show. Now I'm going to take home with me, like, how y'all doing? In the middle of a show, it's like the best thing to ask anyone. How y'all doing?
Right.
It's so good.
Woo! Give a big crowd response.
It's really encompassing.
How big were these venues? I mean, how many people are involved?
Well, it's totally varied. So, like, the conferences, have a couple of 100 people in attendance. And then some of the house concerts that I do will be like, 10, 15 people.
Right.
And some of the venues will be like 40, 50.
That's cool. Now, are you the main event, or are you playing with others, or do you get to like mix in?
It's pretty varied. So most of the dates on this tour have been me as the main act, and then sometimes I'll pick up a local support act. Like, so we played in Denver at the Secular Hub, which is a really beautiful community that I've been to before, and it was nice to come back. And the community they have there is really great. They have this music community as well that they meet every week and they jam and play, and they have a local band. So those guys, Pale Blue, opened for me at the Secular Hub.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And is that what they normally do, or what kind of band are they?
they're just mates that
Yeah.
that play every week and just love playing music.
Were they fired
together
up?
and- yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was really nice.
You
They
do.
played Superstition.
Yeah, you have a beautiful voice, and everything is original that you're playing, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I throw in a couple of covers at my gigs because there's a few songs that I think really do it for me. So I like to play them.
What do you like to cover then?
There's a song I love to do by Phil Ox called "When I'm Gone." I can
Sample that one
Yeah,
for us, or we
let's
get
do
on to
it.
another song. Yeah.
It's everything that I love about music. So Phil Oakes was one of Dylan's contemporaries, but he was never as popular. And I discovered him through Ani DeFranco doing a cover of this song. And it's just everything I love about music. Like the words are just so uplifting and motivating, and like just that bittersweet kind of sad but happy thing. I really like it.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
now it's a must.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
There's no place in this world where I belong when I'm gone. And I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. And you won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't breathe the bracing air when I'm gone. I can't even worry about my cares when I'm gone, and I can't be asked to do my share when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't feel the flowing of the time when I'm gone. Oh, the pleasures of love will not be mine when I'm gone. Said my pen won't pour out a lyric line when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. But I won't be running from the rain when I'm gone. I can't even suffer from my pain when I'm gone. I can't say who's to praise and who's to blame when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't feel the golden of the sun when I'm gone. Oh, the evenings and the mornings will be one when I'm gone. And I can't be singing louder than the guns when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. Guess we better do it while we're here.
Excellent. I'm not
Thank
sure.
you.
I'm so used to not clapping in front of the mic. So awesome. If I could whistle, I would do it.
We'll leave the clapping to our live studio audience here.
Yeah, I think that is, to me, I include it as part of my show because I think that's part of a free thought message. It's like focus on this life, focus on what we can do. I think that's really empowering and positive perspective.
Live in the moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned in Saved that you mentioned suffering and how so much is put into that, and that if we can just suffer, it's almost like saving up in your 401k that you never use, right? But
Or just that suffering is part of a plan is, again, another indictment of the God concept.
agreed.
All your music's not necessarily atheistic in nature. It's you sing about a lot of subjects, and like you
Yeah.
say on your Twitter header, you try to create the world you envision with your music. What's the focus of the latest EP you got out?
Well, this has definitely been a more delicate and vulnerable insight into the way I see things. This last EP was really looking at what we could do in a recording session. It's the most time I've ever spent. Like my other couple of albums, you do like 10 or 12 songs in 1 or 2 days with the full band, like just right through. And so this was awesome. We made an EP, so it'd be half as long, and we just spent twice as long on each track in the studio. And it was at home. It was one of the first ones I've done in Melbourne. So again, we could take our time. I could have my family and friends there, and it created this really amazing atmosphere. And there's 5 tracks, and each one of them is about a different relationship at a different time. And some of them are pretty sad and, as I said, vulnerable. And then some of them are a bit happier, a bit lighter. And there's one song in there that's actually my first single, which kind of talks about body image and aesthetics.
Mm-hmm, we've heard that one. It's we'll make you play some music off of that, and then some of your music mixes both. I'm gonna make you play Eve, which I think is really a pretty song.
Yeah. I think like someone asked me, "Are you, an atheist artist? Why are you not an atheist artist anymore?" And it's like, well, I'm an atheist and I'm an artist, and I'm also a feminist, and I'm also occasionally a vegetarian.
Occasionally. Me too.
Yeah. It's an internal battle. But I like to write about what I care about. So because free thought was and continues to be such a big part of my life and so significant to the way I see the world, I'm always going to be writing about that, and I'm always going to be proud to share that part of my worldview with people that want to listen to my music. And I love being able to use my music as a platform for putting my ideas out there. So I write about lots of different things.
Any special meaning to the guitar? I mean, does it have a story like Lucille, like in B.B. King?
This guitar, no. I fell in love with it at home, actually. I was going to get a steel string, so I had no intention of getting a nylon string, and I kind of picked it up and fell in love, and came back another 4 times and couldn't stop dreaming about it. So we have a love affair, but we didn't have a cool meeting story. My first guitar, I used to play on piano. I started singing when I was about 2. When I was 11, I started being a guest performer at Jewish weddings in my dad's wedding band.
That's right, we talked about that.
And
Megillah Hava, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, I always used to write, and I started writing about the same time when I was 11, and I used to write on piano. And then when I was 19, I was traveling, and I couldn't bring a piano with me, so I switched to guitar. I bought a secondhand guitar in Romania. Yeah. And I haven't really stopped playing since then, so just under 10 years now.
So how long has that one been with you then?
It's relatively new, maybe like 3-4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, B.B. King, Lucille didn't get the story right away either, though.
Yeah.
Do you know why I named it that?
I don't know the story.
Yeah, well, they were playing a lot of small gigs. This is early in his career, and these swamp kind of hellholes. And at one place, they would actually start. They didn't have heaters, so they would have like actual fires going inside in like a 55-drum barrel. So at one point, the place started to burn down, and he had to go back in after his guitar. And apparently the reason why the thing was kicked over was 2 guys were fighting over a woman named Lucille. So the guitar that he ran in after and that nearly killed him was named Lucille. He picked that up. Basically, yes, from the woman that was being fought over.
Yeah, cool.
So they got the story, got the name later.
Yeah. Well, this is Ruby. I called her Ruby after like an old standard called Ruby My Dear that I really like.
There you go.
Ruby My Dear, hold back your tears. I know she's gone.
I don't know that one.
It's really nice.
Old Torch song from the day.
Did you start playing guitar? Or do you play other instruments?
No, I haven't performed on a piano for about 6 years, maybe more. And yeah, just me and the guitar.
Oh, you want to pick us another one?
Yeah.
Bring us something off the new one.
Yeah, cool. Well, this is going to be my newest single, and it's going to be released next week.
Where can people find it?
You can find it on Bandcamp, that one time at Bandcamp, to support independent musicians. And all the usual distributors, iTunes, Amazon, and my website shelleysegal.com. And there's going to be a video clip on YouTube coming out on Wednesday.
Awesome.
So,
Nice.
What's the name of this one?
this is called Background Noises.
Very good.
It's the Mythicist Milwaukee show. You're listening to a special episode of the podcast today. Shelley Segal live in the studio. I want to thank everybody for listening, and if you enjoy what we do, please go to mythicistmilwaukee.com. Follow the links to our Patreon page, where you can support our fine efforts with as little or as much as you'd like. You can
go now.
That's it. Go now. Spend your money. Open your wallets, everyone. You can pledge like $1 a show, $1 a week, $20 a week, $1 million a show, whatever you like, whatever you got. Support the secular movement and the hard work that we're all trying to do down here at the Bucket Works location in the Grand Avenue Mall in beautiful downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shelley Segal, the little known fact about Shelley Segal, she is in fact founding member of the 80s hair band Flock of Seagulls.
Very
Yes.
Thank you so much. Everybody's too young to even remember that. It's like old bad.
Good is different. I always get Steven Seagal, so I'm going to stick with that one. I mean, actually know from Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah, right? Yeah, how about it, right? Yeah, that's a better one. So can you play one of those songs from And I Run? Do you remember the band? No, huh? That's so long ago. But you're on a solo career now. A lone seagull.
Yeah.
And
Post-Fluck.
The joke that just keeps on giving.
Keeps on killing people, right? Killing them dead. But you're wrapping up a tour here in the States. You got what left?
I'm playing at a Halloween party tomorrow night for the Southeast Wisconsin Secular She Thinkers. See, that's a good... there's some good alliteration. And, it's a Halloween party, God and Goddesses themed. It should be really fun. So I'm playing for that, and which is organised by Vader. And then got a show in Chicago with the FFRF chapter over there. And then fly back to LA, a couple of days of hobnobbing, and then I go home.
Hobnobbing?
Hobnobbing? Do you like LA?
I do. I really like LA. I think it'd be harder to be there all the time. But,
well, you need oxygen sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's part of the problem.
Well, we were just in Wyoming and Denver, so I'm enjoying the oxygen over here.
Yeah.
Did you pick a Halloween costume? A god or goddess?
I did. I'm going as Asherah. Do you guys know Asherah?
Oh, of course,
yes.
Yes, we recently, who's it, Arthur George, that spoke to us at length about Asherah, the lost goddess. Yeah, very cool.
Yahweh's forgotten wife.
Yeah.
Bringing the goddess back. I like it.
Very, very good. What?
She would be like if my family, because I'm Jewish. Well, I was Jewish. If my, she would have been one of the gods of my ancestors. If that, if the line is direct as they think it is, it's supposed to be through the mother directly. But I always joked about getting genetic testing so I could prove to my family they weren't properly Jewish.
I've got a little Asherah in me.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How is she commonly depicted?
From the one book I've read about it, she's supposed to be kind of walking around holding her chest, her ample chest as a reminder of fertility.
Beautiful.
Right. That's how I've seen her presented.
Life-giving mother.
For my costume, I'll be wearing all white, and for some reason, some Greek golden leaves on my head. So getting creative. Yeah.
And holding your breast all night, apparently.
Yeah. It's more comfortable.
Why not?
Beautiful.
I like to do it when I can.
But that's great. And people are going to ask. You're going to bring up Asherah, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because that it's not well known.
Yes, it's not commonly depicted. That's the problem. It's very uncommonly depicted.
Well, like the book I read about her in was called The Bible on Earth, and it was by some archaeologists in Israel, and they were with the University of Tel Aviv. And it was amazing because as someone that's very well versed in Old Testament and kind of had considered that story and Jewish history to be a true and historical document for so much of my life, and then have that kind of taken away once you question it, and then try and fill in the gaps with like a world history perspective. This book was amazing because it felt like this is the first time I'm actually reading about the true history of my people and how their beliefs developed, and it's amazing to me that Asherah, who would have been such a big part of life at that time, the majority of Jewish people would have no idea who she was.
Yeah, it's been written out of history, really, in another male-dominated performance of societal control.
Well, it's true. And as Arthur George said, I mean, that Asherah's the Genesis and the tree. The tree is a metaphor for Asherah. That Eden story was never meant to be taken literally. Not even then.
Of course not.
Not even in 800 BC when
really,
it was written.
What did he say about that? I mean, you can always listen to that old episode of Mythicist Milwaukee.
Yes. What he's mentioning, the Garden of Eden is really a coming-of-age story, and being you're a child and you have childish pursuits when you're an adult, you're responsible but have adult pursuits, and part of this getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden is losing your childhood. And also the tree itself is regarding Asherah, the fruit, the way I understand she was worshipped is that you would climb the tree and pluck the fruits, and that's how you would worship the goddess. And they're saying, don't do that. Don't eat the garden, don't eat this fruit of the tree of knowledge, which kind of means don't worship Asherah. We're no good, but they're just Yahweh.
Yeah.
And that's they're forcing that. And if you would have been learned and knowing the myths at the time, you would have seen the metaphor. But now nobody knows Asherah, that we're taking what was once a metaphor and putting it in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what metaphors do we have these days that maybe will be taken literally later? Maybe Al Gore really did invent the internet 1,000 years from now. Well, it's not really a metaphor. It's just a misnomer. But, you know.
Yeah.
So back to the secular movement, I'm interested to know how you see your place in it. Do you feel like the secular singer-songwriter that people sort of know? Or is there other people that you look to as secular songwriters? Are we missing somebody? This is all kind of a 2 or 3 year new thing for most of us, I think.
Yeah. For me too. And it's funny, I'm Australian, Melbourne, Australia, but I feel part of the American secular movement, and I love that. I love feeling a part of it and being an ally, and I love seeing it, nationwide across the country, from the 13 people that we played to in Baton Rouge who were just so happy for us to come, and they told us about their group. They do school drives, and they're trying to do charity works because that's what they want to do, and at the same time normalize atheism and let people know that atheists are part of the community, and let people know that atheists dispel the awful connotations. And people, they told me this woman came up and gave them a bunch of pencils, and then she saw they were atheists and took it back. And they were so happy. They made us a cake. Just this sense of community, and that's one group. I don't even know how many groups I've played to now, and they're all different in a way. Some of them are more social, and they're just about providing a social community for people who don't have that elsewhere, or have been shunned, or they're really political, or even just get together once a month to clean the highway. And it's awesome. I love it, and it's really encouraging. If I think it's easy to be pessimistic, especially watching the news or reading all the clickbait. You're like, fuck, we're fucked. Oh, am I allowed to swear on the show? I'm so sorry, I forgot to ask.
Yeah, it's all right.
Good.
Yeah,
okay.
Nobody's saying
Free
anything
pass,
to us.
thank you. But then when I see all these really engaged people working so hard to create community, to make the situation that they're in better for themselves and for the people around them and for the future generations, it's amazing. And the way I see myself in it, I guess people like to say, oh, you're just singing for the choir. You're just singing to the choir.
Right.
And I like to say, no, I'm singing with the choir. I'm singing for the choir. I'm expressing, and this is what I've got as feedback, that I'm expressing people's worldviews. And for me, my experience, to have your worldview reflected back at you through music is one of the most empowering, validating experiences you can have, because you feel understood, and maybe you're hearing the way you've thought about the world in a phrasing that you couldn't have thought of yourself, but you felt it all along. Someone's putting to words the way you see the world. And when you're part of a community, or you have a worldview that's disenfranchised, or you're not the majority, to have that experience of your worldview being reflected in music is so much more empowering and so much more validating, because you feel connected and understood. And I'm so excited to be able to be a part of, to provide that to people in this movement. And I love, as a songwriter, I love writing about everything. I love connecting with people, and I'm so excited if my music or ideas resonate with someone. But to know that it's resonating with someone on something so specific, and that it's an exchange, because it means something to me that someone understands what I think too, and then to know that I'm giving that experience to them in music, it's just the most amazing exchange, and I'm really excited about it and really grateful to have it.
Do you have a really cool piece of feedback from the American tour that you want to share in that regard? One of my favorite things that anyone ever wrote to me was Veda, whose house I'm playing at tomorrow night, and she wrote to me, "You're singing the way I see the world, and you're making me feel beautiful." That's good to hear.
Yeah, and quite a few people have said that, or there was one gentleman that I had a bit of a correspondence with this year who recently died, and he found that the music and the ideas comforting to him at that time, because it's, music is a comfort. Music can be a big comfort, and so if you've got something that talks about the way you face your own struggles, and you can hear that when you're going through those struggles, I think that can be really amazing. So that was very powerful, and very very meaningful for me. Yeah.
When you're singing with the choir, sooner or later the choir gets loud, and the people outside the church start to hear it, and you do start to affect people who aren't in the choir. So that's good. There's no problem with singing to the choir or preaching to the choir, especially at this point. That's exciting to hear. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Shelley Segal, the #1 secular singer-songwriter in the world, on the planet.
So there's, and in terms of secular music, there's a lot of other artists. Obviously, Tim Minchin is like the killer superstar.
It's fun, isn't it? Yeah.
There's Great and Square, who's a fantastic rapper. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. Really, really amazing. He's a veteran. He's very, very, I can't remember if he's formally studied or just like really, really passionate about science. And he puts all of his worldview into his music very, very eloquently, very beautifully. And he's part of a community called GU, Grand Unified, and they are a dedicated group of artists, visual artists and music artists who try to amplify scientific thought, literacy and free thought through music and art. Who else? There's the amazing purely atheist hard rock band based in San Diego called Monster on Sunday, and we played, I supported their album launch on this tour. Actually, they just released their new album, so Monster on Sunday, if you like hard rock, even if you don't, give it a try. Like, they're awesome. One of their favorite song, my favorite song of theirs is Just Like You, and like there's a lot of anger there. There's the full gamut of emotions, but this song in particular, it's like, your God is just like you. He's homophobic, he's misogynistic, it's such a, it's just simplifying that idea down really well, which is, you're just using this concept, whether it's conscious or not, to validate your own bigotry.
Sure. Can you smash your way through one of their songs?
No,
break a string. Break a string for us.
I should learn it. I broke a nylon string at a gig in Tennessee, and I just hadn't. I'd never done. No, sorry. It was in Fayetteville, in Arkansas.
Right.
And you don't break nylon strings; they last for years. So like, we're rocking this folk
nice.
concert.
Of course, there's the punk band Bad Religion. They've been doing it for a long time. Those guys are like my age.
Dan Barker.
Well, I was going to say Dan himself, an accomplished pianist.
Yeah. We actually just made an album of jazz standards together.
Nice. I did see that.
So, that'll be up online pretty soon. And, there's so many artists that talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, it's nice, but it's still not the majority.
Well, no, and of course our own partner Killer Priest came out as secular member of the Wu-Tang Clan, and was here for the conference, and working with us on future projects as well, hoping to bring him to the Reason Rally, as well as having him on board with our movie Batman and Jesus that we're starting to work on. So looking forward.
Yes, it is coming soon or later. Sooner or later.
What's the movie?
Batman and Jesus. It's going to be kind of a redux of the flawed Zeitgeist Part 1, where mythicism was kind of brought to the public's eye, and in fact caught the attention of most of the folks here that started Mythicist Milwaukee. But the research was flawed, and it's got some criticism that most people who are paying attention know about by now. So the concept is kind of to get it right, give it a little bit more of a full movie treatment instead of a 20-minute part of a weird mixed up trilogy conspiracy thing,
and use the lore of Batman to kind of compare the lore of Jesus. Are his parents dead? Why did he become a vigilante? The stories aren't always the same.
Right.
And you see the same thing in the Gospels.
Is he a camp 60s figure, or is he a dark 90s anti-hero? Is all of that.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Well, pick another song. What are you going to do for us next year? That was enough.
Well, now that your movie made me think of one of my songs. I Don't Believe in Fairies.
Perfect.
So just that comparison of, the God myth with another myth. I was living in London and I heard this spooky noise outside my room, and I thought, I'm so glad that I don't believe in ghosts anymore, thanks to Sam Harris, because there was a time when I would have heard that noise and I would have been afraid. And so it was my deeper understanding of the world that meant I didn't need to be afraid. And I instantly related that as well to losing my faith, something that had once been a comfort for my whole life, taken away, while initially was challenging and difficult time. It eventually became one of the most empowering experiences of my life, because my new understanding of the world helped me to realize that I had to rely and depend on myself, and I didn't need to be afraid or didn't need to call out for help, because the only person that's really there to help is me. And I also really liked looking at those two things, ghosts and God, on the same level, like something that we think of as childlike, like a belief in ghosts, compared to something like a God concept that was so elevated and high and holy and sacred to me, and then just seeing them side by side as a figment of imagination.
I don't believe in fairies. Shelley Segal.
I don't believe in fairies. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in vampires hungry for our throats. I don't believe in demons or witches that can fly. I don't believe in dragons. I think they're all alive. So when I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of creations imaginations have made. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in Zeus. I don't believe in Allah. I think they have no use. I don't believe in Adam. I don't believe in Eve. I don't believe in talking snakes. I think they're make believe. So when I'm in the dark place, in a dark place, I know it's only me and what I face. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell. I don't believe that we are children who need to fear to behave well. I don't believe in salvation.
fun. I love the tempo changes in that song. It picks up and slows down. You can really feel what you're saying.
I believe in fairies. And we support them every year at Pride. Oh!
One of my favorite things that happened when I was playing that song was at a humanist convention in Florida, and I was saying the words, "I don't believe in witches that can fly," and there was this woman in the audience who identified as a witch, and she was upset and like
Did she fly?
We spoke later, like we had a good laugh about it, and ended up, I just played a house concert at her place in Florida, and I had really, really good friends. Yeah.
That's funny though. That's a funny gaffe that you wouldn't think of making necessarily in the day.
Exactly. That's when I'm going to offend people. It's funny. You never know when you're going to offend someone.
But like you said, you made it good.
It's the day of politically correctness, so somebody's always offended. It's what you get. You're listening to the Mythicist Milwaukee show, a very special edition here on a Friday evening before Halloween with Shelley Segal, all the way from Australia, down under. Do they hate it when we say down under? No. People are like, oh, it's so American.
Maybe it's shrimp on the bob.
Yeah, shrimp on the barbie, something and all that stuff. Sheila, is it offensive to call you a Sheila? Is that like a real sexist thing?
You can see what happens.
You're so close to Shelley. You don't want to mix it up.
I think you get a great word when you say creation's imagination, because I think that's where much of this comes from, because you can read the story and everyone has a different interpretation, but many do scare the heck out of themselves, again, with their own creations and imagining.
Yeah. And how much they don't even need to use their imaginations, all the imagery of hellfire and pain and torture and suffering that is, taught to children to fear.
Were you there? I mean, did you fear the dark?
I mean, I was afraid of ghosts. But, no, Judaism doesn't, I've actually met people that have said that there are sects of Judaism that do have a certain type of hell, but that wasn't familiar to me in the Judaism that I was brought up with. And I've always been really grateful for that, because I just think that's child abuse and one of the, most awful ideas that you could carry around in your mind that comes up and flares up anytime you think of something that challenges the way you see the world. That would stop you from being able to think critically and stop you from being free in your choice of what you really want to do and who you really want to worship, if you want to worship anybody. I think it's so awful. So I'm very lucky I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I feel very strongly that it's child abuse to lie to kids and use fear to motivate them. And when you think back on the prayers that people taught us when we were little and made us say before we go to bed, it's just absurd. Do you do a lot with children? Do you play before little kids at all?
I teach a little bit. I have a couple of students that are younger.
I teach guitar.
And vocals. And I used to do songwriting course with some kids as well. And I'm a patron of a charity at home called the Sweet Princess Charitable Trust, and that brings live music into the homes of sick kids and their families. And I love playing to kids, and I love kids. Yep. Have the photo like the politician with the babies.
Kissing, shaking hands, kissing babies. I love it. Of course.
Actually, one of my favorite responses to that song in particular, there have been a couple of families that have written to me saying that after going through the lyrics with their kids, their child's not afraid of the dark anymore, which was just so cool. Yeah, so cool to me, like the way an idea can just, through music, same like reading, you can transport that idea into someone else's mind.
Right.
And it can take hold.
And you mentioned like in the dark, even when you're dark. So I mean, I think that's the time is when you're already in a bad place and you're scared, like that your creation, the imagination runs away with itself. And then you're right. That's cool.
And it's like all these things are hard enough to face, like having to face all the challenges in your life, regardless of thinking that you deserve any suffering or what else can you do to kind of placate the badness, or just all these myths about how to deal with it. Like the challenge itself is hard enough, and if you at least can face it clear-mindedly, that's the best chance you have. I think same with dealing with your own mortality as a kid, understanding that you're going to die, your family's going to die, everyone around you's... That's hard enough to accept, but let alone to also have to worry about where you're going to go afterwards and where will your loved ones go. And even if you're in heaven, how could you, be happy if your loved ones and your family were in hell? So all this extra anxiety and stress to deal with what is already difficult enough.
Right. And as you mentioned, I think the background noises with the song, you're talking about a breakup.
Yeah.
And how, yes, if you're sad there, you don't need this extra stuff piled on because that's hard enough.
Yeah. And exactly, like what some of the baggage, the religious baggage that could be associated with a relationship. You should stay together because you made a promise in the eyes of God. Divorce is, can be a taboo, maybe not so much these days as it was, but, it really adds baggage to pretty much everything. So.
That's a good point.
It is.
How do you, when people ask, how do you deal with death as an atheist? How do you respond?
I've got a song and a story.
Great. Perfect.
So I went to visit the stromatolites in Western Australia.
The who?
The stromatolites. And the stromatolites are the earliest life form on the planet. They existed 3.5 billion years ago.
That's with a B.
Stromatolites.
Stromatolites, first life form on Earth. And they were a cyanobacteria that lived in the ocean, and they would wash up on the shore. And over thousands and thousands of years, they would collect, and they would calcify, and they would form these rock-like structures. And that, they had this chemical reaction that released oxygen. And so it was the stromatolites that are responsible for the oxygenation of the early Earth.
Fabulous.
And they exist today, still in a modern form, in two places in the world. One is in South America, and the other is on the west coast of Australia, in Shark Bay. The conditions there are such that, well, eventually when other life started to develop, outcompeted the stromatolites. But here, the conditions are pretty awful for any other life to survive. So they can thrive there. And it's pretty amazing. I went to Perth, so I crossed country from where I am, Melbourne. I drove 22 hours north to go see the rocks.
Wow.
And so I was already in a bit of a heightened emotional state after my long drive. Like it was a pilgrimage. And I walked out onto the pier and I looked over, all this anticipation, and they looked just like rocks. But if you look for long enough, you can see a bubble of oxygen come out.
So it still makes oxygen.
And and I had this transcendent experience, this transformative and transcendent moment where I just felt completely overcome with a deep sense of gratitude. And I felt grateful for my life and my existence and the capacity that we have as people for those kinds of transformative experiences, for that ability to experience transcendence. I felt grateful to scientists, to people who have dedicated their lives to growing the body of knowledge, so I can look at what my mind tells me is a rock and know that it's so much more, and in some way understand its place in the history of life on Earth, and therefore its relevance in a way to my own life and existence. And I felt inexplicably, but also explicably, grateful to the rocks. And I hope no one could hear me. And I bent down and I whispered, "Thank you, rock." And I, on my way home, I wrote this song, which is about that sense, holding on to that sense of gratitude, even in the face of all of the suffering and all of the difficulties and the challenges that we face in life, even in the face of the frustration and discontent that we feel looking out at a completely imperfect world that we want to fix and make better, and we have an anger towards it. That doesn't mean that we're not grateful, even if there's nobody to be grateful to.
What's the name of this one?
This is called Gratitude. Life can be hard. Things can get rough. Stay on your guard and protect the good I spend my short time feeling down. I'll go through my days getting used to frown. So I will express my anger when credit is due, but it won't take away from my gratitude. There's nowhere to hide. But on the outside you age. Everyone lied when they told you there's the next stage. 'Cause one day my memories will all be gone. Not a single one of all who I love will go on. And I'm afraid of the end. Yeah, I don't want it all to, but it won't take away from my gratitude. When the world is on fire, down come the rains, truth and desire help us overcome our pain. When we take it higher, only mystery remains, and it's almost too good to be real. While it's hard to define the transcendence we feel, I don't believe in a great power to say thank you to, but it won't take away from my gratitude. And after the rain has washed everything away, well, here comes the rainbow to brighten up your day. Contrast with the gray, confusion runs deep, and it's hard to know what's right. Sometimes you can't sleep, you get lonely at night, but you decide that you keep, and the morning brings the new light. I'd rather find out what's real than deny the truth. May be hard, but it's better than living a lie. So before disaster strikes and everything I built comes unglued, I'll be reveling and dancing in my gratitude.
And you are all gratitude for being here tonight. That's the end of the hour in just a few seconds left. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, good luck for the rest of the way. Go to ShelleySegal.com, right?
Yes.
And Bandcamp.
Yes.
To find her music. And join us Sunday for the regular podcast at 2 o'clock. It's Dr. Bruce McLennan with Greek and Roman mythology. Thanks again, Shelley Segal, and have a great night, everybody. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.